Hi class! For today's video, we are going to discuss the continuation of our topic regarding representation of functions. So, dun na po tayo sa last ways to represent function, which is equations. So, this time, we are going to examine if the given equation is a function. So, let's proceed with our example. So, we have example number 4, which of the following daw represent a function. So, we have letter A, y is equal to 2x plus 1, and letter B, y is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 2. So, kung natatandaan nyo, na-mention tong dalawang equation na to doon sa ating last video. Particularly, yung ating letter A is the linear function. So, the graph of the linear function is a straight line. 'Di ba? So, this is a graph of a linear function. So, dahil po ang kanyang graph ay pumasa sa ating vertical line test. So, therefore, yung kanyang equation din is also a function. So, that is why, ang tawag na sa kanya is linear function. Next, ganun din sa letter B. Kung natatandaan nyo yung x squared minus 2x plus 2, definitely, kahit hindi natin i-graph, alam natin that the graph of this equation is a parabola. And a parabola, kapag tinest natin sa vertical line test, is a function. So, therefore, quadratic equation or the quadratic graph or the quadratic equation is also a function. So, therefore, our letter A and letter B are both functions. Let's proceed with another examples. We have naman letter C and D and letter E. So, for this time, we are going to assess manually po muna if the given equations are functions. So, for letter C, naalala nyo kanina dun sa pattern ng letter A and letter B natin, yung y natin is a linear function. So, that is y is equal to ax plus b. And for our letter B, that is a quadratic function. So, pagka i-represent natin siya in a form or general form, that is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So, napansin mo yung pattern, no? Naka-express siya, simplify siya, wherein y, in one side of your equation, y is isolated. So, examine natin yung letter C. I-isolate natin or i-manipulate natin yung ating equation, wherein yung y ay matitira lang sa isang side. So, we have x squared plus y is equal to 1. So, para y squared, para magstay yung y squared sa one side lang ng ating equation, transfer natin si x squared. So, we will have 1 minus x squared. Then, para talaga maging y na lang siya, tanggalin natin yung squared doon sa y. So, that is by raising to square root both sides of your equation. So, square root of y squared, makakancel na po yung ating 2. So, matitira na lang is y. And dun sa kabila naman, you will have the square root of 1 minus x squared. And remember, yung inyo pong discussion nung kayo po ay junior high school, when you square a number or any term, meron siyang possible solution which is positive and negative. So, pwede itong maging positive or negative. And obviously, base dito sa ating equation, there are two possible answers for y. So, therefore, hindi po siya function. So, this letter C is not a function kasi meron tayong, it's either positive, square root of 1 minus x squared, or negative, it's square root of 1 minus x squared as your output. And that violates the definition of our function. So, dun na po sa letter D. Ganun din. So, letter D, we have y is equal to x plus 1. Naka-express naman na siya into y. So, check na lang po natin if this equation is a function. So, we have letter D. Paano natin i-check yung y is equal to the square root of x plus 1? So, check natin if every time po ba na mag-i-input tayo ng any values of y, are we going to get an exact or one value of y? So, halimbawa, mag-construct tayo ng ating simple table of values. Substitute tayo ng halimbawa 1, 0, 1, 2. So, when we replace the value of x to 0, the answer will be square root of 1. Then, ganun din, pag nag-replace naman tayo ng 2, magiging square root of 2. And last, we have the square root of 3. And so on, as you go along, as you add another values of x, mapapansin mo na nagbabago naman din yung value ng iyong y. Walang nagre-repeat, walang magkaparehas sa 0 or isa lang yung output or maraming output na mangyayari. Wala naman, no? So, therefore, you can say that letter D is a function. And, ganun din po, same process for letter E. So, you have y is equal to 2x plus 1 over x minus 1. So, baka may nagtatanong, ma'am, ano pong ginawa mo to solve this table? Actually, what I did is just simple substitution lang ng ating mga answers. So, mangyayari, ganun din, gawin natin for this one. Let's construct a simple table of value of x and y. So, substitute tayo ng mga value. Halimbawa, negative 2, 0, and 2. So, when we substitute negative 2, so, mangyayari, we will have 2 times x dapat or, alisin na lang natin yung x, plus 1 all over. Yan. Papalit natin ngayon yung 2, no? So, we will have negative 2, negative 2. So, solve natin yung nasa numerator. Negative 2 times 2, you will have negative 4 plus 1. You will have 3 divided by or over. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So, therefore, magiging negative 1 siya. Ngayon, try naman natin siya pag 0. So, that is 2 times 0 plus 1. All over 0 minus 1. So, you will have, any number multiplied to 0 is 0. So, 0 plus 1, that is 1. All over negative 1. So, our answer is negative 1. And for when our x is 2, ganun din, same process, 2 times 2 plus 1. Then, all over 2 minus 1. So, this time, you have 2 times 2, 4 plus 1, that is 5. So, you have 5 over 2 minus 1 is 1. So, magiging answer natin is 5. So, balikan lang po natin yung ating previous example, no? Dito bandang part, yung ating negative 2 times 2, ayan, dito. That should be negative pala, no? Negative 3. Kasi negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3 dapat. So, therefore, our answer should be positive 1. Ayan. Okay? So, continue natin. Mapapansin mo na, as you substitute one values or any values of x, you will have one corresponding value of y. So, therefore, our letter E is a function. Now, to check if our answers are correct, let's try to graph yung ating mga equations and let's see if the graph is a function using, of course, vertical line of test. And this time, to graph, gagamit po tayo ng Desmos or GeoGebra. Pero for my case, I will use GeoGebra. Now, let's graph po yung letter C natin, which is x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. So, lagay lang po natin x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. So, upon checking, meron kang graph na circle, which is, kapag nag-test po tayo through vertical line test, obviously, is not a function. So, therefore, tama po tayo for letter C. Letter C is just a relation. Next po, add tayo ng another equation. Yung ating letter D naman, which is y is equal to the square root of x plus 1. So, we have y is equal to square root of x plus 1. So, alisin lang natin yung unang graph natin. Ito. Ayan. So, this is the graph for our letter D. And obviously, kitang-kita naman po na ito po ay function. Then, last, yung ating last equation, which is y is equal to 2x. So, 2x muna. Ayan, ayusin ko lang. 2x plus 1. Okay, this should be 2x plus 1 all over x minus 1. Alisin ko lang po yung graph ng ating second. So, ito po daw ang graph ng ating letter E. And obviously, again, ayan. Using vertical line of test, you can assess that the graph of letter E is a function. So, mapapansin mo lang po, ma'am, para pong yung dito po banda sa yan po, yung linya po dito sa graph po ng ating rational function, kasi function siya, mapapansin mo po, ma'am, naka-straight line yan. Actually, kapag po zoom in mo yan, wala pong points na magkakatapat dyan. Naka-curve. So, kahit po nagmumukha siyang straight, kapag ka-zoom out, it doesn't mean na straight line po yan. So, that's it po for representation of function, specifically under equation.